And we're celebrating the amazing career of Howie Hubberman. Howie, we talked about, of course, Edward Van Halen and of course your amazing career with Poison, your sparking Slash and Izzy and Guns N' Roses to, getting that Geffen deal and Appetite for Destruction. Of course, Cheap Trick, who you're still tight with, and Poison and all that. Are there some other artists that are significant that we should mention that were, customers of yours at the store or that you took a part in? I know you had something to say when Shifty Shell Shock, Seth Benzer passed away recently. And I know there's been many others that you've consulted and, tried to help. Who are some of the other artists we can mention?
Well, gee, it's a host of artists. From the ones that nobody really knows about would be like The Wild, The Zeros, Tough, Funhouse, and a lot of bands that just were bubbling under. They finally got record deals, but they never really broke through. I'm still really good friends with almost everyone from those bands. Even every day, I try to talk to Stevie Rochelle from Tough. He's doing his own thing. He still has Tough together, but he has a tip sheet that's online called Metal Sludge. And I enjoy doing interviews with him. I enjoy reading the interviews. I enjoy just watching him be a businessman, because I would like to think he learned some stuff from me and he applied it. And he's successful. He's a great guy too. One of my best friends, along with Jim Gillette from Nitro. And I want to mention Nitro because there was a band that should have, could have, would have, but never quite broke through the way they should have. It was just not the right time, not the right era. But I had a lot of fun working with them, and I still talk on a daily basis in one way or the other with Jim Gillette, who's down in Florida. Of course, his two kids are great kids growing up under his tutelage. The mom is, of course, Lita Ford, and it's not unknown, but Jim and Lita don't get along, and, things happen in life, and it's something that maybe couldn't have been prevented or maybe should have been prevented, but in no way, shape, or form is it Jim Gillette's fault. He's a great dad, and he's a great friend. And my shout out to Jim Gillette in Florida. By the way, he's a builder now. He owns his own dojo. He's a world phenom in the amateur Brazilian jiu-jitsu industry. And he is at age 57 still a competitor, if you can believe that, on all levels. So
yeah, well, if Mike Tyson can do it, so can Jim. But
Jim
like you
has,
say,
Jim has done it. He's proven he's done it. So
well, you say Tough and the Zeros and so many other bands and
Kaya Jones, who
yep.
joined the Pussycat Dolls and went on her own, and she actually recently on a gospel record was the voice and won a Grammy. So kudos out to Kaya Jones. She's now doing her thing with the state of Israel and being a spokesperson for the state of Israel. And I love her dearly. She was a great project I worked with from actually almost age 16 through her early 20s. And I still keep in touch with her too.
Well, of course, a lot of people that weren't here, fawn over the idea of the Sunset Strip in the 80s, where on any given night, not just weekends, any given night, wall-to-wall people from Gazzari's to the Whiskey, all the way down to, the Central, which became the Viper Room and all of that. But flyers inches thick on the ground. I know the city of West Hollywood finally put up some ordinance or signs on the poles and flyering. But talk about what you think made the 80s so special.
The 80s were so special because even though glam metal was short-lived, we can see now that glam metal never went away. These glam metal bands from the 80s that can still go up there and present themselves as Motley Crue, Poison, even Def Leppard, even though the songs spoke for themselves, we know that it never went away. Because when they tour right now, even with their old music, old records, old guys on stage, they're still selling out arenas. Motley Crue with Def Leppard and with Poison, when they went out, they were doing 50,000 seaters. It never went away. It's still there.
Yeah. Even bands that weren't successful with their major label debuts, like Pretty Boy Floyd, are still out touring the world.
Still out there. Yeah. Steve
People
is a
can't
great
get
guy. Every
enough.
once in a while, I'll have some kind of, you know, interface with him. He's a great guy, and he keeps that spark alive. And let's not forget the agencies that are still rolling with these bands
Yeah,
that were successful in the 80s. That would be Chuck Bernal with Artists Worldwide.
yeah,
He does a great job. Whether you like him, hate him, or whatever, he works his ass off and he does a great job with those bands.
yeah, absolutely. What a great time it was, and people want to relive that. Look at even Stephen Pearcy, 1/5 of Rat, is still out there doing big business with his solo band. Because that band can't quite get it together for a reunion. Obviously,
Yeah.
losing Robin Crosby, but Steven is basically the new Rat.
Well, but they have Juan is going out doing his thing too, and I believe he's vocalist on the new project, and he calls it Songs from Rat, whatever. And he's out there doing it
He
too.
calls it the other voice of Rat.
The other voice of Rat, and he's doing his thing. Kudos to him. Listen, I want to take a little time to talk about Shifty Shell Shock,
Yeah,
Seth Binzer, and
Crazy
Crazy
Town.
Town.
I knew Epic prior to the formation of Crazy Town. Knew his mom. Just seeing that come together, seeing Seth,
Yeah.
aka Shifty, he had an amazing swagger and attitude. It was just hard to control. I mean, going through those Ozfest challenges they had and going through that monster record Butterfly, and then trying
Number
to
one
follow it up.
worldwide.
Yeah,
It's the only band I've ever worked with, even in the later part of their career, which was just Shifty, that had a number one worldwide. Poison didn't. Guns N' Roses didn't. Um, Cheap Trick actually did with The Flame, but I never was working on that level with Cheap Trick
right.
at all. But in the last part of Shifty's life, he was reaching out to everyone, including myself. We did not have the tools to fix him. We tried, we failed. He didn't fail, we failed him. As everyone knows, in the last 10 months, I have not been healthy, and he needed me more than ever in the last 8 months of his life. And I wasn't able to do it because of A, my health, and B, I didn't have the proper tools, still don't. But it's sad and it's a shame. And if you know someone that's struggling with addiction and you have any love for them as a fellow human being or as a person that's helped you out in the past or has created situations for you that you wouldn't have had, reach out to them. There's no time like today. There's no tomorrow sometimes. And with Shifty, there was no tomorrow. And I immediately took it upon myself and elected myself to come out with this statement right out after he died to over 175 publications worldwide. I spoke out on his behalf and I drew the picture as I saw it. And if I had it to do all over again today, I would do the same thing, even though some of the people reached out to me and said, how dare I? And why did I say this? And why did I do that? Again, as a sober man and as a guy that loves other human beings and believes in other human beings, I would not have done anything differently than I did in making a statement on the last part of Seth's life. And it was a shame. We didn't have the tools. Let's try to prevent the next one.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all I can say.
obviously, you helped CC DeVille get sober. And I know, people believe in the sex, drugs, and rock and roll myth. But today, you see these big bands out there playing stadiums and arenas. The party is on stage. The party's not backstage or in the limo or all that, they're like athletes today. They're juicing. You talk about Def Leppard. Phil Collins is benching, before he hits that stage. He's
Yeah.
he's late 60s and he didn't have a six pack. He's got like a 12 pack and he loses that shirt like by the second song.
No, I've got a lot of respect for Def Leppard. I really do. They've persevered. They've had great albums. They don't disappoint their fans. They know where their fan base is, and they continue to tour to this day.
They overcame two guitarists dying and a
Yeah,
drummer who lost his arm. What
yeah.
band is going to stick with a drummer who has a severed arm?
Def Leppard.
Absolutely amazing. Now, Howie, tell us about what you've been through. I know, like I say, we're Facebook friends. We get the updates pretty much daily, every other day from you. But tell the world that doesn't know what you've been through and where you're at right now.
Well, hopefully they'll stay on this podcast till the end because it's not all dreary. The first part is though. Um, I decided to come out and move and sell the house I was in the valley over by Northridge, and come out and move in with my girlfriend, who is my forever girlfriend, Joy Nolder. And within less than a week's time, I got very ill, and I was basically throwing up coagulated blood that looked like coffee grounds. She convinced me to go to the hospital because I'm not a doctor or hospital guy, but she convinced me to go to emergency. Within 12 hours, they cut me totally open. They took out my exploded appendix, half of my colon, two tumors, cancerous tumors, cancerous, that sounds good, two cancerous tumors, and fixed my hernia that was wrapped around all of them, and sewed me back up. And I was in the hospital, not eating for 3.5 weeks with intravenous lines to me. And as they discovered more and more, my prognosis was I have multiple cancers still in me. They got some out. I got down from 180 pounds to 117 pounds, not able to stand up by my bedside at all. Didn't have an appetite. When I even watched stuff on television and they came on with a commercial about food, it would somehow make me sick. And upon getting out of that hospital, I tried to go home for a day, day and a half. It took me to emergency to another hospital. I spent another month, month and a half in the new hospital, still not able to stand up. From that situation, the doctors were painting a very glim picture of what was going to be the rest of my life. I have something that's called Lynch syndrome, which I just found out recently, which creates tumors and cancerous tumors for the rest of my life. And many people have this, they don't know they have it. It's genetic testing is what they do to find out that Lynch syndrome runs in your family, it runs in my family. And now my son and my sister's two kids are testing genetically to see if they have it. Hopefully they won't. But as I started walking into different doctors after I got out and I rehabbed, and I was able to walk around the hospital on my own, still not with much strength and still at the 125-pound figure, which is way under what the weight I should be. They painted a pretty grim picture. In fact, the first surgeon I saw painted such a grim picture of my life and what it was going to be like over the next couple months till my death. I walked out of his office and I went home and I said, maybe he's right, but it's not the picture and it's not what I wanted to hear. And I'll continue finding other doctors till I hear better stuff about me and help me fight tooth and nail on what I'm about to fight. 3 days ago, I'm at about 130 pounds right now. About 4 months before 3 days ago, I started doing push-ups one at a time. Started doing 100 at a time. Started doing 1,000 per day, 100 per sitting, with no problem. Going into doctors' offices and saying, would you like me to do 100 push-ups in front of you right now to show you how determined I am to get where I want to be, and that's with a life of normalcy, get my plumbing back, which incidentally, to this day, till right now, I have an ileostomy, which means anything I eat or drink comes out the side of my chest in a bag. And without this bag going away and my plumbing coming back, there is no normalcy. Without the half a colon that I have and my rectum that I still have, with those being taken away, and they all said it was inevitable that they all be taken away. Without that, I have no chance of getting a reversal and putting my plumbing back together. Less than 3 days ago, after doing Keytruda, which is immunotherapy instead of radiation and chemo, which I was charted for, they stopped it and they said 2 days before, let's try the Keytruda immunotherapy on him to strengthen his immune system. I've been through 4 of them, and next week, it's every 3 weeks, I'll be through my 5th. 2 days ago, they lean in the direction on my chart that I now have no more cancer in my body as such, and I'm going to save my colon and save my rectum and have a shot at the rebuild within the next few months to have a shot at normalcy. And that's where I am today. In fact, I'm about to go back in my room and do another 100 push-ups, live a much normal life with a bag, as much as you can have a normal life with that. Go out to see bands like Cheap Trick, go out to say hello to my friends and family.
Yes.
And in other words, it's all good. I'm on my road to absolute recovery. And by the grace of everyone around me, by the grace of God, and by grace of what I believe in, and I believe in people, I'm going to have a much longer winter at age 69 that I thought I was going to have 3 months ago, that I was told I wouldn't have 4 months ago. It's now coming to my dream of normalcy, and that's where I stand today.
Well, Howie, you serve as an inspiration to us all as we all get older. You know, medical conditions and challenges can arise, stuff we never knew as young 20, 30, 40-year-olds, but it's inevitable. But you have taken the bull by the horns, and your posting of your condition and your situation gives us all hope. You serve as an amazing guide to all of us, and our small problems seem insignificant after seeing what you've gone through. So we appreciate your stories. You're with us in what we do, and I know all the great people you've ever worked with are there with you every day, every push-up that you're doing. And until I see you again, blessings to you and your lovely girlfriend Joy, and can't wait to see you continue to thrive and survive. Thank you so much, Howie.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for listening to my story. And thanks for going ahead and having a podcast like this where people can go on and actually listen to people like myself, where normally they might have never heard of what goes on and what life is about, according to so-and-so. And this is according to Howie Hubberman, and self-proclaimed king of men. And I appreciate being here, and I appreciate having the ability to speak my mind and tell my story.